of a lot of this, there's going to be a lot of controversy about the scoring. So I want to hear from you. Was the scoring in this fight okay? Did you have Andre Ward winning? Did you have Kovalev winning? Let's keep it respectful. Let's try, if we can, to keep it respectful and not start, cussing each other out and all that kind of stuff. So let me know how you feel, people. How did you have this fight scored? Did you get the fight that you expected? Was the decision fair? Just let's break it down. Let's chop it up here, people. 19 people viewing. How did you guys have the fight scored? Phil Mitchell says this is why boxing is going down. 7-5 not to Ward. From what I saw, I have to disagree. I thought Ward won the fight and won it by a few rounds. I will watch it again, but I thought Ward won the fight. I thought that Kovalev just allowed him to steal too many rounds. RW 1991, he had it. Ward 116, 111 to Ward. That's quite a big margin, but I can see it, to be honest with you. Ward showed a hell of a lot of heart. Whoever you think won the fight, he showed a lot of heart to come back from such a bad start. I mean, he got cracked with that right hand, and that right hand didn't even land too clean. Kovalev kind of caught him with the fingers in the face. It wasn't even a full-blown Sergey Kovalev right hand, and it still hurt Andre Ward badly and dropped him. And I thought it was curtains from there on in. Remember, I picked Kovalev to win this fight, but wow, he showed a lot of heart getting up off the canvas to come back like that. Tom Stargazer said he had Ward winning 114 to 113, so that's pretty much in line with the judges and how they had it. Shaky Jake says he had Ward winning, but not comfortably. Yeah, definitely mixed feelings. Some people thinking that it was a robbery. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of people had a horse in the race in this fight. Let's not get it confused. A lot of people wanted Kovalev to win badly because they're Kovalev fans, to win badly because they're Ward fans, and I guess there was a lot of neutral people as well. And that's why I think the Sky team were the closest thing to being neutral, because you got to look at HBO. Yeah, HBO, both Ward and Kovalev are HBO fighters. Yeah, both of them are HBO fighters. So, do they have a favorite between Ward and Kovalev? I would say they do. I would say their favorite is Kovalev over Ward. For whatever reason, maybe stylistically they prefer him, or whatever other reason, politics, I don't know. Maybe he's just a more marketable fighter because he's a puncher. Whatever the case may be, the fact that HBO had Kovalev so far ahead, that to me just doesn't sit right. I mean, I just felt like, what? How could he be that far ahead? I mean, if you had Kovalev ahead, okay, but by wide margins, that's disturbing to me. I have to be honest about it. I do find that odd, very odd. So let me just sort out some settings here, people. Then I'll get back to the comments. Okay, somebody says it makes no sense to have 3 American judges. Well, I agree with that actually. I wasn't aware that it was 3 American judges, but if it was, then yeah, I don't agree with having 3 American judges. In fact, they should have really had neutral judges, not from America at all. I definitely agree with that, man. Particularly in a fight of this magnitude. Having 3 American judges, nah, I don't like that. Same Hussein says 116, 113 Ward, he pulled it out of the bag. Yeah, Ward, regardless who you think won the fight, to come back from that kind of start, that's impressive. I mean, not many fighters, particularly against a killer like Kovalev, not many fighters can come back from, that type of start. So That was impressive by Ward to be able to actually come back from that. All right, people, let's keep it respectful. Let's keep it respect. I see people cussing each other in the chat room already. Let's not start cussing each other. Let's respect each other's opinions. You know, I picked Kovalev to win. I was wrong. Ward won the fight. I mean, it's not like I thought Kovalev would just blow Ward out, but you know, I did get a prediction wrong. Ward did his thing, you know, and I'm cool with that, with getting a prediction wrong. So let's try to keep it respectful here, people, instead of going downhill. All right, let me sort these settings out here. Keep your comments coming. I'll get back to your comments in just a second. I'm just sorting out some YouTube settings here. Usually when you knock a guy down and land more punches, you win. He knocked him down, but in the following rounds, to me, he wasn't landing the most clean, effective punches from what I saw. Uh, for the most part, I saw Andre Ward in a lot of the round, particularly in the second half of the fight, landing most of the clean, effective punches. And I do think that Kovalev did gas a bit late in the fight, and that really allowed Ward to steal a lot of those late rounds. And credit to Andre Ward for going to Kovalev's body, because I think the body shots were starting to take a lot of you know, steam out of Kovalev's legs. So Ward did. There's no question. I mean, regardless of how you scored it, you have to admit that Ward was getting stronger as the fight went on, and he was winning most of the rounds that Ward won in the fight. You have to admit were in the second half of the fight. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, impressive display by Ward, and I just feel like Kovalev let it slip away. Maybe I'm not giving enough credit to Ward there. Maybe there's nothing he could do about the fight slipping away from him. But I just feel like he stopped going to the body, and you can go to the body with a left hand against Andre Ward. Ward don't have a good right hand, and he's got shorter arms than Kovalev. And when you know, they traded right hands, you saw what happened in the second round. Ward went down, and he went down hard. So that situation, if they're going to trade right hands, that favors Kovalev. So I feel like Kovalev should have been jabbing to the body more to take that movement away from Ward, because Ward's legs really want him to fight here. His legs and his brain. And you know what I have to say is that on the inside, Kovalev was stronger, but Ward was busier. You know, Kovalev definitely was a stronger guy up close. He was pushing Ward back, and you know, dominating most of the clinches from a physical point of view, but he wasn't active in the clinches. Ward, particularly as the fight went on, he was the guy landing all the punches in the clinches, whereas Kovalev was just wrestling and not actually throwing any punches. And I guess that's his inexperience in that type of situation, because Ward has been in those kind of dog fights where they're mauling on the inside on so many different occasions, whereas that's kind of new to Sergey Kovalev. You know, he again, he's apparently takes these classes, which is like wrestling, so he knows how to tie people up and maneuver them around. But do they teach him how to add punches to all that? It seems not. All right, let me get back to the comments here. Was this fight a robbery? Were you shocked? Were you horrified? I mean, first of all, those people who picked Kovalev to walk through Andre Ward and just destroy him, I'd like to hear from you guys. Why didn't Ward destroy, why didn't Kovalev destroy Ward like you expected him to? I'd like to hear from you guys. Did you underestimate uh, Ward's boxing skills or his heart, or what was it? Why wasn't Kovalev able to destroy Andre Ward like a lot of people out there believed he would? The fight did go the distance, and that's the way it is. Here's my view, and I will watch the fight again because I may score it differently the second time I watch it. But my view is, from what I saw that first time, I most certainly can't say it was a robbery. Yeah, I certainly can't say that was a robbery because, Ward won plenty of rounds in there for me. Whether you think Kovalev, if somebody says they thought Kovalev won it by a round or two, I can accept that. Maybe even a round. But robbery is when you think that Ward won very few rounds and Kovalev won it by a comfortable margin. And that's something I can't personally get my head around. I can't get my head around how people think that this was a robbery and, Kovalev actually won it by a wide margin. That's why I'm so perplexed by the HBO scoring of the fight, that they had Kovalev so many rounds ahead. I don't understand that. And Ward was clearly growing in confidence as the fight went on. He was landing more and more shots. Somebody says Destiny is a crap game. I agree. This is actually not Destiny. Yeah, a lot of comments coming in here. Definitely call. I mean, I expected all these comments, to be honest. I expected this amount of comments. There's going to be a lot of controversy, a lot of different views. So that's all good, man. Let's try to keep it respectful. 7-5 Kovalev, I can respect that scorecard. 114, 113 Kovalev, I can respect that. I can respect that. Well, I don't think it was a robbery, but a lot of people do think it's a robbery, as you can see from what they're saying in the chat room. So I'm asking the question. I'm not making a statement with my live stream title. I'm asking the question. Was it a robbery? I don't think it was, but I know a lot of people out there are gonna say that it was. Phil Mitchell said he had it a draw 6-6. I think Johnny Nelson was the only person in the Sky team that didn't have Ward winning. He had it a draw. Other people say it was close. Rematch is in the contract. Indeed, it is. Rematch is in the contract. The word robbery has lost all meaning now. Well, it has. It has, but this is what people are going to scream. This is what a lot of people are screaming. So, Carlton Palmer says even Wood was surprised he won. Um, I'm not sure whether Wood was surprised he won based on his performance or based on maybe the word which had got back to him about the HBO scoring, or I don't know. I felt like Ward was feeling himself in there. In the later rounds, he was showboating. He was, Ward definitely looked the more confident in the later rounds. The way he was showboating and winding his arm up like Sugar Ray Leonard and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, Ward was very confident. Indeed, somebody saying Ward had a glass jaw, and someone responded saying glass jaw, the hardest puncher in the division, hit him and he got up. Yeah, Ward showed a lot of heart to come back from that heavier knockdown and uh to come back and get into the fight. I thought Ward won most of the later round. I think I might have given Kovalev the 10th or the 11th, but I certainly gave Ward the 12th. I think some people, you have they're paying attention to what one guy is doing and ignoring what the other guy is doing. Um, okay, Ward 115, 112, shocked by the outcry. I'm not shocked by the outcry because there's a hell of a lot of Kovalev fans out there who are very uh, passionate Kovalev fan, so I'm not shocked by the outcry. Buzz says, what do you think, Hatman? I think that Ward won the fight. That's how I scored it. You know, watching it first time, I thought Ward won. Ward was working the body in the late rounds. He was doing well. Einstein says Wood definitely not top pound for pound. Well, you know, pound for pound, how can you get knocked down and still win a unanimous decision? That's been done many times. I'm not sure how long you've been watching boxing, but getting knocked down in a fight does not mean you can't win a unanimous decision. Many fighters have done that. Yeah, these comments are coming way too fast for me to read. Somebody called Chris Ariola's rubber nose. Andre Ward versus Andre Berto. um, the judges didn't give the champion the benefit of the doubt in the close rounds. Well, I, I just feel like Kovalev didn't do enough. Andre Ward, as I said before, has made a career out of winning rounds by tight margins. That's what Ward does so well. He neutralizes what you're doing, and then he lands a couple extra clean punches per round. And that's what the judges are looking at. You know, he was landing a few extra punches per round, and particularly as the fight went on, it was happening more and more. And he definitely was the stronger guy down the stretch in terms of stamina and energy. His energy levels seemed higher than Kovalev's in the last few rounds. Certainly in the last third of the fight, his energy levels were there, whereas Kovalev looked a bit tired. Yeah, Adine K says they had a great ref to let him fight it out. Yeah, he did let him fight it out. He did. Kovalev had the harder punches though, but Kovalev wasn't landing enough punches. It don't matter if your punches are hard or not, you have to be landing them. I mean, I can't really remember Kovalev landing clean shots in the fight other than when he scored a knock. There was a few, obviously, but very few. Whereas I remember Ward landing more clean shots. Just from memory, after watching the fight the first time, I can think of Ward landing more clean shots than Kovalev, particularly as the fight went on. Well, actually, I mean, it's a couple of trolls here. Let me just remove these trolls. A couple of people want to go on the block party. Yeah, indeed. Same. I was struggling to identify the clean shots from Kovalev to the head or body. Kovalev was landing some jabs here and there. He was landing some nice jabs that actually rocked Andre Ward back, but just few and far between. He just wasn't doing enough work, and he just allowed Ward to steal the rounds, man. That's what I saw. Again, I hope to see the fight again. In fact, I'll be scrambling around right now to find to find the fight to watch it again, because I would like to watch it again with the sound off and score it again and see if I score it the same way the second time around. But first time around, I certainly felt as though Andre Ward did enough. And I definitely have to concur with the Sky team, with Adam Smith, with Matthew Macklin, and Paulie Malignaggi. Now, I know Paulie Malignaggi, because he is a stick and move type boxer, he might have, you know, some type of bias towards technical stick and move boxing in the ring. You know, he might favor that kind of thing because of the fact that uh, he's that kind of fighter as well. So I accept Paulie Malignaggi might see a fight through a certain lens, yeah. But in terms of the other guys, there was Matthew Macklin. He's not that kind of fighter. You know, several other fighters, several other people in the Sky team. they had Andre Ward winning as well. And they're neutral people. They don't have a horse in the race. Andre Ward is not signed to Sky Sports. Andre Ward is signed to HBO. And so is Kovalev. So you've got HBO with Kovalev and Ward, and they've got a favorite. If they have a favorite, it's, you know, HBO between those two, because they've got a horse in the race, obviously. Sky don't have a horse in the race. So how, man, do you feel that Ward's layoff has lost him his best years? He doesn't look as sharp as he was a couple of years ago. I'm not sure. He was in there with, I think, the best fighter he's faced as a professional. Sharp as the fight went on. And he's heavier now. You know, you have to bear that in mind. He's older and he's heavier now. So when you're heavier, you know, generally, you're not going to get faster, are you? I mean, sometimes you might if you've really been drained at a lighter weight. But generally, as you get heavier and move up in weight, you do lose some speed. So if Ward has lost some speed, maybe that's to be expected with the extra pounds that he's got on him now. Chris Ariola's rubber nose says Kovalev stole my nose. Kovalev ended up with a busted nose like Ward did. Well, he busted Ward's nose first. Ward ended up busting his nose and getting his payback. Triple G is never going to fight Ward, so stop it, fanboys. Kovalev better than Golovkin. Well, normally I prefer the HBO commentary. I just think their commentators are more talented in terms of just their verbal skills. But having Paulie Malignaggi on the Sky team, I think was very good, because Malignaggi is obviously from Showtime and he articulates himself very well. So Beast Mode 32 says I'm done with HBO. Yeah, I can see that they have their favorites. That's what I'll say with HBO. Rematch in 3 months, probably. Yeah, probably. Kovalev is limited. How can he be pound for pound? I wouldn't say Kovalev. I mean, this Kovalev can't do everything, but he's a very good fighter. I think that performance right there showed that Kovalev was by far the best guy that Ward has been in the ring with as a professional. Nobody has tested Ward the way that Kovalev did there. So I think it was two high-level fighters, very high level, two good fighters, two good boxers. But I just think Ward was a little smarter down the stretch than Kovalev. Maybe Kovalev got a little too intent on landing another big punch. You know, maybe he was thinking, right, I got him with that first right hand, I'm going to get him like that again. But uh, Ward didn't make that mistake again. So Kovalev was there waiting and waiting and waiting for that same opportunity to land a big right hand, and it never came. Ward took the right hand away from him. After he got dropped, he said, I ain't getting hit with that right hand again. He took it away from him. Crusher needs to do what Tarver did to Roy Jones in the rematch. I think Crusher needs to let his hands go in the rematch. Let his hands go. You know, I think he was given, I know it's easy for me to say because I'm not in there with Andre Ward, but I just felt like he was giving Ward too much respect. Ward wasn't hurting him with any punches that he was landing. So why not put the pressure on and just let your hands go more? Don't let Ward steal the rounds. But that's what Kovalev was doing, man. He was letting Ward steal the rounds. Yeah, adapting and neutralizing is what Ward does. Indeed. Indeed. Finesse Steve says that. That's true. It is true. Ward started hurting him to the body, says Beast Mode 32. That's why Kov backed off. But very possibly. Very possibly. Ward's was going hard to the body. I mean, when he was on the inside, he was banging hard to the body. There was one round in particular where he was putting everything into the body shots. So that probably did take it out of KRUSHER a little bit. And sometimes when an opponent is moving, because Ward was doing a hell of a lot of moving, when an opponent is moving like that and he's planned to move like that, chasing them around the ring and not catching them can take it out of you as well. You know, Kovalev likes to fight a more measured type of fight. He doesn't like to have to be chasing a guy around the ring. I think Golovkin is better at cutting off the ring than Kovalev. I think we can all agree on that. Yeah. Because Kovalev really wasn't cutting the ring off. But Golovkin will cut the ring off. He'll stop you getting out of corners and stuff like that. Whereas Kovalev is more of a boxer puncher. He's not so much of a pressure fighter. So he wasn't, you know, really cutting things off. Chine Me says both A-level fighters Ward just edged it. That's pretty much in line with me. I think both A-level fighters. I think all these people cussing Ward and cussing Kovalev, you know, I think it's silly. I think they're both high level fighters, both very good fighters. You know, the better man won on the night. That's what I think. Yeah, what is wrong with Kovalev's trainer? It should have been telling him go to the body. That's what I think. I just think Kovalev missed the trick there. If a guy's moving, go to the body. Take the legs away. Take the legs away if a guy's moving. I'm sure the post-fight press conference is probably going on right now, and Kathy Duva saying, we're taking the rematch straight away. Keon Williams says Hatman Ward should just finish the division and box up Stevenson, become undisputed, move up to cruiserweight. How do you think he would do there? Um, I don't think he'd do too well at cruiserweight, to be honest. I think light heavyweight is as far as he should go. And I would like to see him fight Stevenson. Stevenson is a different kind of fighter than Kovalev. Southpaw, obviously, so the angles are different. Ward likes to hide behind the shoulder quite a lot, the left shoulder. Whereas Stevenson's left hand is coming in from a different angle, so he won't be able to block or slip the right hand. Slip the left hand the same way he slips the right hand. So it'd be interesting to see him against Adonis Stevenson. And obviously Stevenson's going to be screaming for that fight now. He won't get it, but he'll be screaming for it. What if Andre Ward rematches Kovalev and Ward wins again? What then? Pay-per-view numbers. I can't imagine the pay-per-view was that good. I'd be surprised if it was, because neither one of these guys are really marquee names among the wider public. They're not household names in the United States. But certainly Ward's profile would have risen from this. Definitely, particularly with the controversy that this fight has, generated. Controversy sells. So the rematch will be a hell of a lot bigger in terms of pay-per-view and in terms of public profile. Dylan Gallagher says, don't be surprised if it's done more than 250k. Possibly. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. 250k for those two fighters, I think is pretty good if they did 250k. I know I did a post-fight video, but I have to say again, I was impressed with Włodarczyk on the undercard. I thought Włodarczyk boxed very well against Chilemba, and I think he's only the second guy to stop him. In fact, I thought Włodarczyk did a much better job with Chilemba than Kovalev did. He got hit less than Kovalev. He let his hands go more. His movement was very good. So I was impressed with Włodarczyk. It was a big improvement from against Tommy Karpency, where he got dropped in the first round. So, yeah. Beast Mode 32 says, I agree. Kov stopped jabbing. He was tired. Yeah. They say Kov was supposed to knock him out. Indeed, a lot of people thought that Kovalev would knock him out. And he certainly dropped him. He certainly hurt him in that second round. But, you know, Ward proved his heart. He proved his adaptability. And he got the win. Simon says, honestly, Kovalev learned from Chilemba, but if he didn't fight someone like Chilemba before this fight, it would have been different. I take it by that you mean that Ward would have won more convincingly in your eyes if he didn't have the Chilemba fight. Yeah, the robbery with Maurice Hooker was terrible. I mean, that was shocking. That's one thing I will agree was a robbery. The Maurice Hooker fight was a joke. How in the world they had Maurice Hooker win in that fight? I've got no idea. No way did Maurice Hooker win. Pete Long says, yo, Hatman, would you say Ward is an ATG now or close to it? I would say yes. Tony Yayo says, is Hatman a PS4 or Xbox gamer? Definitely PS4. But yeah, I would say Ward is close to being an ATG now with that win. I mean, we'll see how the rematch goes. If he wins the rematch, I think he's solidified as an ATG, in my view. Also, apparently, correct me if I'm wrong, but Vodcek was sparring Kovalev in the lead up to this fight. They were sparring each other. And from what I saw, the sparring seemed to benefit Vodcek more than Kovalev. Edward Tapia says, I'm a Ward fan, but that was a clear Kovalev win. That's your view. Robert Williams says, robbed. If you are supposed to pound for pound, there must be convincing and not some BS robbery. I certainly didn't see a robbery, so I don't know what fight you were watching there. I certainly did not see a robbery at all. If you had Kovalev winning by a round or two, I can accept that, but robbery, no, I don't see it. The people who think that Kovalev won, they should also be saying, well, yeah, I can see Ward winning it by a round. Okay, there's some idiot here who wants to join the block party. So don't worry, I got you. I got you. Off to the block party with you. John David Jackson was tactically inferior to Hunter. I agree with that. I agree. Triple H 1200 says, you know they were going to say robbery if it went to the cards. Indeed. Indeed. I'm actually quite impressed that I haven't had to send too many people to the block party so far in this stream. People are fairly well behaved. Lord Master says, Ward won if you don't listen to the commentary. He made Kovalev miss a lot of shots they gave him credit for. Dima B says, ridiculous decision. You know, everybody's got an opinion, but I certainly don't think it was a ridiculous decision. You know, Ward winning by one point. I don't see how anybody who's objective could have an issue with Ward winning by a point. If Ward had won by several rounds, then I could maybe be a bit more understanding than you know than that. But to call it a robbery and ridiculous decision and all that kind of stuff, I don't think that's really coming from an objective standpoint, personally. Don't you think Kovalev should be unhappy about the decision? Says Carlton Palmer. Well, I think fighters themselves are often not in the best position to score a fight because they're in the moment. And when you're in the moment, particularly if you're a fighter, particularly if you're a top level fighter, your mindset has to always be positive. So in the mindset of a top level fighter, when they get dropped, they're thinking on the bright side. This is how fighters are. So they might be in a round where they get hit with a few shots, but then they land a couple shots and they think, no, I got him there, I got him. So they're concentrating on what they themselves are doing well, and they're not concentrating on what what their opponent is doing well. So because of that, fighters are not really in the best position to be scoring fights, when they're in the fight. So that's why you get so many fighters, even when they clearly lose fights, after a fight saying, I thought I won. Like the other night in Monte Carlo, we saw a robbery there, and the fighter, after the fight saying, "Oh, I thought I won," when the whole Sky team was telling him that he lost, and he's a Sky fighter. So yeah, fighters when they're in a fight, when they're in the moment, they're probably not the best guys, you know, to be scoring a fight objectively. And of course, the fighter I'm talking about was Jamie McDonnell. Yeah, Jamie McDonnell thought he won the fight when pretty much everybody else felt like he clearly lost, including his broadcaster. I think even his promoter, Eddie Hearn, had him losing the fight. Or maybe he had it a draw. I think his promoter had it a draw. Yeah, Usman says Ward now knows of Kovalev's power again, and that's gonna be, going into the rematch, he won't be shocked, he won't be surprised by Kovalev's power. He knows what to expect now. Marky B, what's good? How did you score the fight, Marky B? I'd like to know. For those who haven't heard yet, I thought Ward won the fight. I thought Ward won it. Block Damian Hatman. I think I just did block him. I think he's on the block party. Hatman, why don't you talk about BT deal with Box Nation? I did briefly touch on the BT deal with Box Nation in my earlier stream, earlier on today. Yeah, the people posting all the racist stuff, they just get blocked straight away. So, if you just come in here to get blocked, then hey, post racist stuff. But, kind of weird that you'd waste your time joining the conversation with the intention of getting blocked. OK Dam says Hatman can Ward hang in there with a cruiserweight such as Usyk, etc. I don't think so. I think Ward has gone up as far as he should go in terms of weight. And that was a tough fight for him in there against Kovalev. Regardless of whether you thought he won or not, it was a tough fight for him. He got dropped, he got hurt. So going up any further, the guys are only going to be even stronger. They're going to hit even harder. So I don't think it's advisable for Ward to move up to cruiserweight. I think it's a step too far. You have to remember that the uh the weight difference between light heavy and cruiserweight is 25 pounds. It's a massive jump in weight. 25 pounds. Yeah. And a lot of those cruiserweights come into the ring, well over 200 pounds on the night. They're coming into the ring 210, 215 on the night. Exactly, minimum of 25 pounds. Them guys are huge. They'll be outweighing Ward by massive amounts. So I don't think it's a good idea for Ward to move up that high. Not at all. But as I say, the most likely next step here is going to be a rematch. So we have to, Ward has to get the rematch out of the way. before we can even start talking about who else Ward is going to fight, or if he's going to go up to like cruiserweight and all that stuff. Why didn't Kov work the body? Good question. That's what I'm wondering. FSA Boney says Ward will duck. Well, Ward can't duck because there's a rematch clause in the contract. So unless he vacates the belts, then he has to fight Kovalev in a rematch, from my understanding. Barmy Army says Free says Ward would get battered at heavyweight. I agree. He's not athletically gifted enough to go up to heavyweight, and he don't have the punching power. I know Roy Jones Jr. went up to heavyweight, but Roy Jones was far more athletically gifted in his prime than Ward, and he was a much harder puncher in his prime than Ward. They still call Ward a ducker. Haha, the man gets so much hate. Indeed, it's silly. It's silly. You certainly can't call Ward a ducker. He just took on one of the most dangerous and feared men in boxing, and just like, all right, let me read Marky B's comments because he's one of my long-time dons. Ward took over after the 5th round, Hatman. Kovalev didn't do much after the 5th round and found it harder and harder to cut off the ring come the 8th round. Totally agree. Yeah, Ward certainly does get too much hate, and I've made videos about this in the past. It's disturbing. You know, it's disturbing. I don't know why people, even if they disagree with the decision, I don't know why they can't have some respect for the fighters, because they both are top quality fighters, and they both went in there and tried, and they both showed a lot of skills. So I don't see why there's this disrespect for, you know, this fighter or that fighter, particularly Ward, because people are being far more disrespectful of Ward than they are of Kovalev, and that's always been the case. So yeah. Racists on suicide watch. mm. Boo Boo says, is Stevenson a harder fight for Ward than Kovalev? I don't, you know what? I don't think so. Um, Stevenson certainly doesn't apply pressure. Stevenson will box Ward, and Ward will have to get close. Stevenson's got these ridiculous go-go gadget arms. You know, if you thought Kovalev had long arms compared to Ward, you ain't seen nothing until you've seen Stevenson in the ring with Ward. Stevenson's got ridiculously long arms. So, it, but again, Stevenson's not going to come forward and pressure Ward. He's going to box long range and try and land the big left hand like he always does. So I think it will be a less exciting fight, actually. Ward against Stevenson, I see that. I mean, not to say that this fight was the thriller in Manila. It wasn't, but it had its moments. But I think Ward against Stevenson would be even less of a spectacle, personally. Stevenson got owned in the Olympics. Well, Stevenson is nearly 40 years old, so those Olympics were a very, very long time, long time ago. Navos 2003 says, I had Ward winning. Don't think another fighter would have beaten Kovalev tonight. Ward deserves a lot of credit. I agree. I agree. Like it or not, boxing is divided by race. Indeed, it's true. I've said this before. Tribalism in boxing. There is a lot of racial bias in boxing. Not everybody, don't get it twisted. There's plenty of people out there who are not interested in all the racial bias, but there's a hell of a lot of people who are, and whether they realize it or not, whether they are conscious of it or whether it's in their subconscious, there's a lot of people who do come to the table with a lot of racial bias, unfortunately. Chris Ariola's rubber nose says, don't be surprised if you see Andre Ward versus Klitschko as the Wise next video. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. Indeed, Simon Kim, regardless of politics, if you trained or boxed in the ring, you know damn well every fighter deserves respect. True indeed. Unboxing Master says Kovalev could have finished him. Why did he box Ward? Again, I have to agree with that comment right there. You know, why did why did Kovalev let Ward off the hook like that? Don't box Ward. Put it on him. You're the stronger guy, you're the bigger guy. You hit much harder. Ward is not a big puncher. I just feel like Kovalev was falling into Ward's trap. Ward loves a chess match. Don't play a chess match with Ward. Put it on him. What are you waiting for? You know, I think that John David Jackson should have injected more urgency into Kovalev, you know, because he was just falling into Ward's trap. And again, credit to Ward for, pulling him into that trap. But still, Kovalev's definitely going to try and throw more shots if the rematch happens. He's definitely going to try throw more, throw more shots. Yeah, Kovalev didn't feel the urgency. But I do think Kovalev was frustrated, you know, and I don't think he was cutting the ring off particularly well. Brian May says no way Wood won 7 rounds. I think he definitely won 7 rounds, personally. Excellent chess match. Yeah, I agree. I don't normally like chess type fights, chess match fights, and I don't normally like Andre Ward fights, to be honest with you. But I did quite enjoy this fight, particularly after the knockdown. You know, when he got hit with that big shot, that was a crisis for Andre Ward. And it was interesting because you knew that Kovalev had the power to turn Andre Ward's lights out, because you'd seen it happen in the second round, and throughout the fight you were thinking, what if he lands that shot again? And maybe that's what Kovalev was concentrating too much on. Maybe he was thinking, I'm gonna land that shot again, I'm gonna land that shot again. But he never landed the shot again, you know. Shaky Jake says Eubank had Kovalev winning and Dave Caldwell had Kovalev winning. I don't have any issue with people having Kovalev winning, but I've just got an issue with people who think that it was, Kovalev by a wide margin. I just can't see that. Can't see that at all. Unboxing Master said if Wood won fair and square, this would not be happening. Um, I think he did win fair and square, and unless Ward knocked Kovalev out or beat the crap out of him all the way through the fight, then this was always going to happen, because who does Ward really beat the crap out of? Not many fighters. He normally, I mean, even look at his last 2 fights. He didn't really beat the crap out of those guys. He won the fights by landing a few extra shots per round. That's how Ward wins fights. He don't win the fights normally by putting a beat down on somebody. So Ward was always gonna, if he was gonna win the fight, he was always gonna win it in this manner. Yeah. And so there was always gonna be people angry after the fight saying Ward ran, or Ward did this, or Ward did that, because he was never gonna knock Kovalev out. He was never gonna, you know, beat the crap out of him all the way and bust him. That was never gonna happen. That's not who Andre Ward is. That's not what he generally does in against high quality opposition. He normally nicks rounds here and there. That's what he does. Frank V says fight not that close. Um, Again, I have to disagree. I thought Ward won. I have to agree with the Sky team. Simon Kim says Ward beating people down ended when he left super middleweight. Very possibly, very possibly. But even at super middleweight, I mean, did he beat Carl Froch down? He didn't beat Carl Froch down. He beat Froch, don't get it twisted, but he didn't, beat him down. George Groves did far more damage to Carl Froch in the first fight than Andre Ward did. Frank V says fight wasn't close. I seriously have to disagree with that. Seriously disagree with that. If you watch the fight again and try and be objective, then I think you will find that Ward was very, very much in that fight. I think Frank V, you have, probably got a horse in the race there. Stevan Povetkin is next. Definitely looking forward to that. Yeah. Oh, sorry, wasn't one-sided. Each guy won the rounds. They won. Easy fight to score. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Will the rematch be easier for Ward? I think so. Well, if Kovalev boxes the same way, then it will be easier for Ward. But if he applies more pressure, as Kovalev should, then I don't think it will be easier for Ward, if Ward even wins the rematch at all. Kovalev has the power, you know. He just needed to throw more shots, land, put more pressure on, do more damage, not allow Ward to run like that, work more on cutting off the ring. DJ Slick says 8-4 scored it. Big up Hatman on this late night shift. Yes, definitely. Big up. Indeed, jump tube, I agree. Kov just needs to stop chasing him and more ring cutting. I agree. And as I said previously, I think Golovkin is much better at cutting off the ring than Kovalev. Kovalev was following Ward around. He wasn't cutting the ring off. Wasn't trapping him. Trap the guy. All right, well, I think I got the general consensus here of Hatman, Kovalev versus Stevenson. Who you got winning now? I would still edge towards Kovalev, but as I said in my previous live stream, Kovalev has never been in there with a puncher before. Stevenson actually has fought a few punchers. Stevenson fought Bellew, who's a puncher. He fought Fonfara, who's a puncher. He fought Fonfara. He fought Bellew. He fought, what's the other guy's name now I was thinking of? Tavoris Cloud, who back in the days was a puncher. So Stevenson's had more experience fighting big punchers. Kovalev never been in there with a puncher, so it's going to be interesting if Kovalev was to fight Stevenson to see how Pascal's not a puncher. Stephen Kim. Pascal, not. I've always said this from day dot. Pascal's not a puncher. Pascal not a puncher. All those guys I mentioned that they're bigger punchers than Pascal's not a puncher. So I want to see how Kovalev reacts when he gets in there with somebody that can bang. Even Stevenson's last opponent, even he was a puncher. He knocked out Edwin Rodriguez, spectacular fashion. Thomas Williams Jr. Pascal's not a puncher. I've seen Pascal's career from when he fought Froch all the way along the line. He's not a puncher. Look what George Groves did when he hit Carl Froch in the chin. And then compare it to Pascal hit Froch with all types of shots in their fight. Never even came close to putting Froch on the canvas. Even Jermaine Taylor dropped Froch. Pascal couldn't do nothing. Pascal's not a puncher. I'm not saying he's feather-fisted, but he's certainly not a puncher. Anyway, I think I'm going to call this live stream to end here. So I thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate the feedback. It's good to know what you guys think about the scoring and how you feel about how the fight went. So yeah, I'm over and out. And some of you guys should probably get some sleep as well. All right, thanks for tuning in. It's your boy Hartman. I'm out.